Yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to another one of my tier lists. Today I'm going to be talking about specialty change units, which are basically the upgraded version of some 3-star units once you fill out their quest. And today I'm going to be talking about the PvP tier list, which will include Arena, Guild Wars, and World Arena. And I'm making this list because I made a specialty change tier list in the past, and I think I'm going to start dividing up my tier list into PvE and PvP, because when you include both, it's pretty hard to kind of like rate the units. But yeah, I have a regular specialty change tier list that incorporates both the aspects of PvP and PvE if you want to check that out, just to see which units you guys should prioritize first. Now, before I get started, no matter how many times I look over the units and what I have to put in the waiting room in the blue section you see below, I always end up missing at least one unit, only one usually, and I double checked this like 5 times, so if I'm missing something, I'm sorry. Just let me know down in the comments below and I'll try to respond ASAP about what the rating is. But I'm pretty sure I got all of them. If not, once again, my apologies. Now, this tier list, keep in mind they're all going to be rated, what's it called? In a tier list where all the specialty change units are considered. It's not going to be like if they're an S tier in this tier list, they're going to be an S tier across all the units in the game. It's just mostly, it's relative to the specialty change units only, okay? So keep that in mind. So first we have Adventurer Ross. Usually it is the first or second specialty change unit that people get. Usually the second one after Angelic Montmorancy. So A-Ross in PvP has always been very good. There's never been a time where he was bad. And there's some metas, even in World Arena, where you would see him first pick sometimes, maybe about like a year and a half ago. So I think for that reason, I'm going to put him in S tier. He's very strong in Guild Wars. His defense breaking the dual attack can one-shot a lot of units if you have a very strong DPS paired with him. His defense buff is very nice. Defense buff is a very strong buff in this game. His S1 can strip. Not the best for PvP because it is not very consistent, but for PvE it's very great, but it's still a very nice effect to have because there is a lot of buffs in the meta right now. And so yeah, Adventurer Ross I think will be S tier. He's just a very flexible unit, very defensive, has a lot of offensive pressure, and just very good utility unit. Next we have Angelic Montmorancy. This is also an S tier unit, might be A tier, but I'm going to put her in S tier because I have a soft spot for her because when I first started the game, she was obviously the best geared soul weaver for a lot of early game players because she's so powerful in PvE. And if you slot her in PvP, she's very good actually. Surprisingly very strong for a very powerful PvE healer because she has a lot of turn cycling, a lot of cleansing, immunity, and buff cleansing. Or debuff cleansing, so very, very powerful, very underrated. Just later on, there are better units. It's not to say that she's bad in PvP late game, there's just better units you can use. Next, we have the Specialty Change Tierlist. Specialty Change SCP, okay? So, at first when she came out, everyone thought she'd be very strong because she has a provoke, you can put her on counter set, lock people up, she has a lot of defensive capabilities, but she's not like super broken. She's fun to use and actually pretty decent. I'm going to put her in A tier. I don't think she's as broken as people expected, but she's very serviceable unit, very strong in like Guild Wars. Next we have Axe God. So this poor guy used to be like S tier, very strong counter to light units because he gets armor pen, and he's just a very strong like one-shot unit, but the buffs actually hurt him, and Smilegate never really compensated. So I'm going to put him in C tier. He's not like God tier awful where he deserves to be D, but actually, I'll put him in the bottom of B tier because technically you can still use him. And I see people sometimes use him for fun, and he's not like terrible, but he's definitely worse than before where he was like S tier. He's definitely fallen to about like the B tier range. Next, we have Commander Lorina. So unfortunately, Commander Lorina is strictly a PvE unit. Sure, you can use it as a single target nuker in PvE, but there's just a lot better options. And for that reason, like there's no reason to take Commander Lorina in PvP over Axe God at all, ever. And Axe God is already in a pretty meh spot, so Commander Lorina is going to be D tier. She's like S tier in PvE, so it's like weird. For PvE, Commander Lorina in the past, when she first came out, was S tier, then she like fell about to like A tier, B tier ish, and now she's back to S tier with the release of like KDs, because she's good in one-shot KDs, light expedition, etc. Next we have all-rounder Wanda. So I actually love this unit. She looks very, I don't have her built, but when I see her in Cleave, it's actually kind of scary as an opener. I'm going to put her in the A tier. I think she's very underrated, and people just don't like investing gear into this unit because there's a lot of good openers, but relatively to the other specialty change units, she's actually very strong. I think she might be even better than SCP, but pretty similar. Next we have Captain Rikoris. So ML Rikoris is actually like pretty strong as well. He has strip, he has defense breaks, he has a speed buff. He has a lot of utility. It's just the same thing with Rikoris as like other SC units. So once you get to late game, you have an access to a lot of units in the game. You won't use him over other units, right? Especially because speed buff, right? You can get with a lot of units nowadays. Like Landy's a very good option as well. And what he does, a lot of units can also do, like 5-star ML units, right? But for like mid game players and people that don't want to spend a lot of money, he's actually a very strong PvP option, just very underrated. So next we have Axe God's brother, Butcher Core Inquisitor. I think that's his name, right? But I don't think he's that strong in PvP. You see him sometimes, but mostly he's good in PvE as like a tank. You can use him in some Hall of Trials, some Abyss Forest to cheese. He's good in Earth Expedition, but in PvP he's not that strong. Falconer Kluri, easy S tier. I think she's the top right now. So it used to be like Aros and Falconer Kluri were very close, but I think Falconer Kluri is a little bit better in this meta. You can see a little bit more of Rylets nowadays, especially since his banner's here, so you can just use Falconer Kluri to straight up counter him. She's a very good speed contester, she has a lot of flexibility, and in World Arena, once you have the, I almost said dampening because that's a WoW term, but once you have the effectiveness and damage of everyone go up, she actually becomes very, very strong because you'll defense break everyone without soul breaking, and once you put her on Justice for All, she can like solo teams with their turn cycling. Next we have Mercenary Helga. So in PvE, she is a lot stronger now, similar to why Commander Lorina is very strong, but in PvP, she's still not that great. I'm going to put her in D tier. She's mostly a PvE unit. Pearl Horizon, I'm going to be honest, I do not know what she does because I don't think she's ever been good anywhere. I think she's good in Ice Expedition actually. She's good in Ice Expedition, but besides there, I'm not too sure. I'm going to put her in D tier as well. Mascot Hazel, also a D tier unit because she requires a full fire team to make full usage out of her, and you cannot really bring out full fire teams because one, there's a lot of ice units in the meta, and two, if you draft a full fire team, they'll just ban her, and then your full fire team just gets countered by the ice units, so the ice units that they draft, so very hard to use. Next we have Doris. I think Doris is S tier, higher than Angelic Montmorancy, very, very powerful in Guild Wars, counters dark units. She's a very good dark bait, which means you bring her into Guild Wars and Arena against dark unit heavy teams, and she has a passive that benefits herself and her team for being hit by dark units, and dark units will always prioritize light units. And in World Arena, she's also good as a dark counter unit. And there's a lot of dark units in the meta, obviously, because MLs are like super broken. There are technically more light units in the meta at the moment, but dark units are still very, very prevalent with like RB, Rylot, right? There's just so many. Researcher Carrot, easy S tier as well. So she used to be like super broken, but there's a lot of counters now. So I think she's fallen a bit. I'm going to put her probably like here. I don't think she's as good as Aros or Falconer Kluri because they're way more flexible nowadays, but Researcher Carrot is still S tier, very, very powerful. Worth picking up if you really need a good fire unit for, PvP. She's a very strong fire DPS, very tanky, a lot of debuffs, and she just does crazy amounts of damage. So Muse Rima, I think it's Rima because like her theme is like music and music rhymes, or like, lyrics rhyme or something. But anyways, she is not that good. It's a girl, right? But she's not that good. Yeah, this unit's like a very bad Assyria. And Assyria is not that good either. But mostly looks focused for PvE, but she is not strong there either, so kind of sad. Next we have Righteous Thief Roozid. So I want to put him in S tier or A tier. It looks really top heavy, right? But there's a lot of good PvP specialty change units that people don't know about. I'm going to put him in A tier because he's a very good cleave unit. He has a speed imprint for his team. He's a good CR pusher. Honestly, he could probably be S tier, but kind of the same thing where people stop using him after you get better initiators, right? Like Captain Rikoris and Wanda. Next, we have Zealot Carmen Rose. Used to be like S tier, top of S tier, but now she is falling out of the meta. She has a very annoying kit. I personally like using her, but she's mostly used in PvE nowadays. But she's still a solid pick in PvP, in my opinion. I think she's just like underrated. I don't know where to place her. Probably around like here. Either A tier or B tier. I'll just put her in B tier because I don't think she's as good as the other units anymore. And the list definitely seems top heavy. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my specialty change PvP tier list, guys. Also, there's like ads in the background. I'm sorry about that. You can't X them out anymore on this website, which kind of sucks. But if you guys enjoyed this tier list and want more in the future, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back with another tier list soon. Peace.